All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to talk about how do you stay motivated to work out when you're no longer setting PRs. We're going to answer the question, how do you know if you're under eating or if you're just hungry because you're dieting? And then last but not least, how do you know if you're training hard enough to change your body or if you're just beating yourself into the ground? Those are all really good questions. My name is Jonathan. This is my wife, Blakely. If this is your first time finding our podcast, welcome. If you like this kind of content, health and fitness mindset, and you disagree with all the nonsense that's out there in the fitness space and you believe in the basics, you're in the right place. So hit subscribe before you go. I think Blakely has a sponsor for this podcast episode, if I'm not mistaken.
The First Form Ice Shaker bottles. I don't think they're actually Ice Shaker brand, but
They actually say the brand on there.
yeah, we've been really big fans of the Ice Shaker bottle style, where it's like a shaker bottle, but it's an insulated cup. So you get like the ball thing to mix your proteins and stuff. You have like, you're able to shake it, you're able to take it with you and not spill, but you're not dripping like condensation all over, and your cup stays cold. I mean, it's a big deal. I don't know. I like this kind of thing. Like, it's a big deal in my world because I'm just like, okay. Like yesterday, didn't have this. Came in the mail yesterday, but yesterday I had to go to the eye doctor again, and my shaker bottle. I had worked out. I needed like some protein. I had that Clear protein, and I had it in my shaker bottle, and it was dripping all over the doctor's office. It's embarrassing. I'm like, do you have a tissue? Like, I'm like, come on, let's get it together.
Yeah,
so, oh yeah.
Did you really ask them for a tissue?
And just like, I was literally messing with it. He's like, you can sit it anywhere. And I'm like, it's leaking, it's awkward. But anyway, yes, big fan of the
Insulated shaker bottle. This brand is actually like Hydro Jug or something, but Ice Shaker is another brand.
The First Form is the brand of protein and supplements that we recommend.
So there you go. Thanks, First Form, for the free sponsorship, the free commercial we gave you. Okay, before we get into the questions, reminder that if you are going to be at the Airstream Rally in Minot, North Dakota, come see us present on Wednesday. Say hi to us if you see us around. We'll be doing morning workouts on Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. We'll be doing a presentation on Saturday and also on Monday with the content creator. So anyway, lots of chances to come see us if you're an Airstreamer and you're going to be there.
You just said Minot differently this time. Is it Minot? You said it quick.
I actually don't know if it's Minot. I guess that's really the two main ones, Minot or Minot. So if one of you guys are from North Dakota, leave a comment and let us know the right way to pronounce it.
We'll ask our friend. I think his mom is from there. We'll be like, how do you say this word?
I actually looked it up on YouTube or Google, and I heard a bunch of AI voices and robots giving. The funny thing was, like, there was all different pronunciations. Right. So how do you know which one is right? I don't think it really matters in the end.
Is it like Houston or Houston?
It's definitely not Houston. Okay, so there's the announcements out of the way. Oh, also, like, a lot of our clients and followers, subscribers are getting their Digital Barbell t-shirts in the mail, the one Blakely is wearing right now. So if you got yours and you love it, take a picture of yourself, tag us when you post it to your story, and we'll reshare it. And actually, the company that made the shirts, they really want to see them too. Mm-hmm. So selfishly help us out.
And I think people really liking this shirt, this design, and the different shirt options that we gave. So I do think after the Airstream Rally, we probably will have another launch if you've been like seeing these and you're like, oh man, those are cool.
We actually got hoodies made for ourselves, and we'll be rocking those very soon. So
it's like a test hoodie. So we might be launching some hoodies also.
Yeah.
In the fall.
Everybody likes a good hoodie. Okay, first question. This is a great one. How do you stay motivated to work out when you're no longer setting PRs? Mm-hmm. Before we answer this, can I just say real quick that just because you hit a certain age doesn't mean you're going to stop hitting PRs, or just because you haven't hit a PR in a while doesn't mean that you're incapable of hitting PRs anymore, especially if you change to a kind of training that is more, structured, organized, well thought out. There's a good chance you could still hit some PRs as you get older. And I don't care if we're talking in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. And this could be a PR as far as like something you might think of, like being able to deadlift more pounds than you ever have before, being able to run a mile faster than you ever have before.
Yeah.
Or things like that. It could be a lot of different definitions of what setting a PR is. So Just because you haven't done it in a while doesn't mean you can't.
And I think another version of this question that I remember back in the days when I owned the gym came up a lot was like, how do I stay motivated to keep coming if I'm not reaching for a goal?
A goal.
Like if I'm not training for a competition, if I'm not training for a marathon, if I'm, it's kind of the same thing. Like, what am I doing if I'm not out to set PRs or I'm not out to train for a certain goal?
If I haven't signed up for anything.
Yes.
How do I stay motivated?
Yes.
I would say like one thing that comes to mind is you can kind of reframe the definition of a PR to not being like one specific little thing, like an accomplishment, signing up for a thing or being able to get to X number of pounds. But there's so many things we do in our workouts that are progress, and progress is a PR. It's something you've never done before. So it could be a rep PR on a certain exercise, which really opens the door to tons of possibilities. It could be a number of sets PR. It could be a distance run without stopping PR. So there's all kinds of things that if you get creative, you can chase as goals if you want to.
Did you say that already?
No, that's a great one.
PR?
Yeah. Max number of sit-ups in a minute. The longest you can hold a plank. The longest you can dead hang.
Getting 5 pull-ups in a row. Yeah, there's endless PRs, and they don't have to be like pounds on the barbell squatted or deadlifted or pressed.
Yeah. So beyond those kinds of things, like, what do you think? Like, what are ways that we stay motivated to work out if we aren't trying to chase one of those little things?
I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, we're training for life. We're training to be able, like at the back of our shirt says, train for life, being able to do things out in the real world, to feel good, to stay healthy. So I think I've been able to wrap my brain around, like, I don't need to be like setting like micro PRs to stay motivated to go to the gym because I know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to stay healthy.
So
and stay strong as I age.
Yeah. And that's like a less tangible thing, really, until it's taken away from you. And then you're like, then you know what it's like to not have that.
Yeah, whether it's just like like a shoulder injury, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't, what am I going to do? Or, something more serious. But yeah, you're right. But within that, I do think that we do personally set like little PRs, and whether they're on purpose or they come about, like, for example, like if you do have like an upper body injury like you've been dealing with, or like a tendonitis that you've been dealing with, and we've been doing way more running, and now we're starting to like get into that where we're like excited to set more PRs where it's like goals of like, okay, actually just in the last 30 days I ran more miles than there were days. Like first time in my whole life I've ever done that. Like where, your Apple Watch tracks everything, whatever. And it's, I logged more miles in 30 days than 30. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I've never done this before in my life. And to me, that's like an amazing like PR for me.
I think another way to say that is like find a weakness that maybe you want to work on and make that your goal as your PR is like, I'm going to get better at this thing. And that could be a performance-based thing, or that could be an aesthetic-based thing too. Like, if you're somebody who's like, man, like I feel like I like the way that I look, except my shoulders don't really pop in my shirts or whatever. All right, like we're gonna focus on doing a bunch of lateral raises, and you're gonna PR how many sets of lateral raises you can do per week.
That's a great one. You're just like, okay, I finally want to be able to like point and have a tricep popping, like for the first time in my life. Like when people are like, oh, triceps popping, that's a thing to work toward. You're like, okay, I'm going to be crushing some, tricep work, and I'm going to be consistent in my workouts and all this kind of stuff to make this happen. Or it can be like, I want to see my abs, or whatever it is.
I think it's funny that we just gave like the most vain example of motivation, and we also gave the least vain, which is just working out because you want to have function and health and all those kinds of things. It really can be like, you have to know yourself. What are you motivated by? Are you more motivated by aesthetics, or are you more motivated by longevity and like the more less tangible functional sides of health? Know yourself and chase those kinds of goals.
For someone who asked this question, if you are like, okay, I find it hard being motivated if I don't have a goal to shoot for, then like you can think around the big goals that are common, like, oh, I'm running a marathon, or I'm trying to put this much weight on the barbell. Think about the kind of goals we were just talking about. Like, I want to be able to run a mile in under 10 minutes. Like that's that's like maybe something you need, you can work toward. Or I want to be able to do 15 push-ups in a row without stopping. These are like little micro goals that you can chase. That'll keep you consistent.
We were talking before we started recording, about this question, and Blakely brought up kind of like some of the stuff that she's been going through recently, and specifically around motivation to work out. Do you want to kind of touch on just kind of what's been going on?
It's really like I've just realized how much your mindset. I mean, I think I've always known this, but just like this summer has been a tough one for me. Like I've had more little micro things pop up. Like I had a hip issue. I had 2 colds this summer, which was like crazy. I'm like, what the heck? Like I had several issues with my eyes.
Yeah.
And from the two back-to-back colds, I developed like a throat thing where I was just like, a whole thing. But anyway, a lot of these things weren't like so physical or I wasn't able to work out besides like the time I was dealing with getting over the cold. But my mindset was so thrown off by all of these different things. Like, for example, like the vision thing, I had developed a thing in my eye and I couldn't wear contacts. So I had to wear my glasses in the gym for the first time. And it was just like totally threw me off, threw off my mindset. I just felt like I was like in there going through the motions, like almost like in tears, like I don't want to be working out in my glasses. And so if you've seen any videos of recently on Instagram, that is why I wear sunglasses inside our gym, is because those sunglasses are prescription. Not just because I think I look cool in sunglasses. Believe me, I'd rather be not wearing them. But my mindset was affecting my workout so much, and it wasn't, even though like an eye issue wasn't like a physical thing that was preventing me from like pushing hard in my workouts or anything, it was affecting my mindset tremendously. And I was telling him, I literally prayed about like, I felt like I had strung together so many bad weeks of like something going on. I literally prayed about stringing together some good weeks where I felt just like good, and I wasn't even thinking about all of these other things. And I did. And I just realized the importance of the mindset. Like nothing physical changed. It was the mindset that changed.
Yeah, because you're actually still going through the eye stuff now. Not the exact same stuff, but like you still don't have it nailed down.
I can't see unless I put these on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you have been killing it in your training, and like I can see the difference in the mindset for sure. And maybe somebody else like struggles with one of the same mindset things that you do. And we've talked about this before, but like when you're in the midst of it and something is feeling off, you have a hard time pulling yourself out of that, ever seeing that you will be back to the way that you were. So it kind of like creates this cycle in your mind where like it's like this doom thing where I'm like, never going to be normal again.
My hip hurts. Like, will I ever be able to feel like my hip not hurting?
Well, the worst was when you had the cold and you were down for like 3 weeks in a row. It felt like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody else deals with that.
It is. I think, it's very true. It's just like, you're like, I can't see the other side of this. Like, will I ever not feel like this? And during that time, you were doing the 30 days in a row of running, which I had kind of started and then like had to like abandon ship, and you took it over. And I was seeing you, like your motivation, because you're like excited to do the mile, you're excited to make the videos, and like your motivation was off the charts. And so I was just like really wanting to get a piece of that motivation back. And then I think, getting to the other side of it, I realized a lot of it was my mindset, not like anything physical that was holding me back. And it's just like, I think realizing that you can kind of start to overpower it. That's why I was like literally prayed about like, okay, I just want to be able to string together some good, solid days where I just feel good and I can like get over this hump of my mindset holding me back.
Yeah. That also is part of the loop where when we're in that mindset and we are struggling to take action because of our mindset, since we're not really taking action or we're having subpar workouts or non-existent workouts, we don't get the benefit of the feeling you have after you have done a productive workout.
Yeah.
But it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you can pray about it or convince yourself to take the action anyway, if it's not going to be perfect, you will start to feel some of those positive effects, and those create even more of the motivation that you were missing in the first place. So
it's like relying on habit versus motivation. Like during those times, my motivation was not high to walk outside and get into the gym, especially in the middle of summer. And, but I have developed the habit of doing that, which was carrying me into the gym and whether those were like the most amazing workouts I've ever had or not, at least the habit was still alive to where I was showing up.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's good. Anything else you want to say on that?
I don't think so.
I think you killed that one. Okay, second question was, how do I know if I'm under eating or if I'm just hungry because I'm dieting?
Every time like one of us is like, I'm hungry, like we had some really good friends of ours, somehow brought up, are you hungry or are you just thirsty? And like we say that to each other all the time. You'd be like, I'm hungry, like, or are you just thirsty?
You're just thirsty.
I don't even know what the point of it was. But.
I think that whole thing is a little bit overblown. It's like, I've never been hungry, drank a little water, and been full for very long. It usually comes right back.
Sometimes if you're just like kind of like, I'm snacky, like
boredom.
Boredom, or getting like a fizzy water or something that fills your stomach up, or can help for sure.
Yeah, maybe the question could have been, am I bored or am I actually hungry? No, but this is a good question. And 20, I forget the year now, but I've been through several like dedicated fat loss phases in my life where I've gotten extremely lean, and hunger is a real thing to deal with during those times. But honestly, hunger is a great signal that you're in a calorie deficit and you're burning body fat for energy. It's like, we want to balance how much hunger you have on a diet so that it's manageable and it doesn't send you off the deep end, but don't feel like you're doing anything wrong if you're feeling hunger. It's good. Like, hunger is good if you're trying to lose weight. I mean, there's even times where you even want to go to bed a little bit hungry because you're going to be burning fat overnight that whole time that you're not eating. But specifically, since the question is, how do I know if I'm under eating or just hungry? I think we just have to look at what are the signs of like chronic under eating. So here are the things that I came up with. If you're constantly thinking about what you're going to eat and the next time that you're going to eat, especially if you've already been on a quote diet for a long time, that could be a sign that you're under eating. If you restrict yourself for a long period of time, whether that's going a long time during the day, or you're just like, keeping some foods completely off limits throughout the week, and then you swing it completely in the other direction, you either way overdo it at night or you way overdo it on the weekend, that could be a sign that you're under eating and you're not just hungry. If you're having trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep, you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep, that could be a sign that you're under eating more chronically. If you look in the mirror or you have some kind of like DEXA scan or something like that, and you see a lot more muscle loss than you would expect on a diet, that's a sign that you're under eating and not just hungry. And then last but not least, like if you've lost all your motivation and your energy for your workouts, they're not productive anymore, you're not making any strength gains.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, that's the importance of like the logbook of your workouts, so keeping track of that kind of stuff. So it can, noticing that you're not able to add weight or add reps, or even getting a reduction of like the weight you can move and the reps that you can produce, either means like you're not recovering or you're like losing some strength.
And under eating is a huge part of not being able to recover, because that's one of the main factors besides sleep in the thing that causes you to recover between your workouts anyway. So those are signs that you're under eating. If we think about how much hunger should there be on a diet, I would say that by the time it comes to your next meal, your hunger should be around an 8 out of 10. If you're at a 10 out of 10 before you're ready to get to your next meal, and you do that chronically, there's a good chance you're just under eating and you're leaning too far into a deficit, restricting too hard. You should be ready to eat, but you shouldn't be so ravenous that, number one, you want to overeat, and number two, that after you're done eating, you're still hungry.
Yeah.
If you're following like a plan where you kind of already know what you're going to eat throughout the day, you should feel satisfied but not stuffed when you finish your meal.
I think a lot of besides like watching like your logbook of your workouts, a lot of these things we talked about are like kind of like, okay, I have to think about how I'm feeling in these situations, and sometimes that is hard.
It's subjective.
And so I think that like doing a check-in on how many calories you're actually putting in your body, and in like knowing, whether you Google it based on your height, weight, and activity levels and stuff, knowing about what your maintenance calories should be, and doing a check of like what calories you're eating, and like that. So if you're just like, if you are trying to go for a calorie deficit, but you're noticing you're in some sort of extreme calorie deficit that you didn't intend to put yourself in, that could bring some awareness.
Totally.
Like, oh, okay, I probably am way under eating.
Yep. And like, yeah, and that's the reason like we recommend a conservative to moderate calorie deficit for most people. Between 10 and 20% of a 10 to 20% deficit down from your maintenance calories is kind of the sweet spot for most people. And this is the reason this whole conversation about under eating versus just hungry is the reason that with the nutrition coaching client, we monitor what we call biofeedback markers before we do a check-in with them. Like we're talking about sleep, hunger, energy, mood, all those kinds of things. And we rank them from 1 to 10 from week to week. And if we see that a client is experiencing 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 hunger, we know that their calorie deficit is too aggressive, whether they're tracking calories or not.
Yeah.
And there's different strategies we can take if that becomes the case. But I hope that made sense with the signs of under eating. Don't expect to not be hungry. If you are trying to lose fat, you should be feeling hungry, but it should be manageable. And if you're restricting and binging, then it's definitely a sign that you're under eating and you need a better approach. All right, let me get a sip out of my sponsored shaker bottle before we move on to the next one. Feeling parched. Oh yeah.
What do you have in that shaker bottle?
I have ice, water, creatine, and sugar-free fruit punch flavoring.
All right.
That's it.
Interesting.
It's so funny though, because when I was working in construction and out driving around all day in my truck, I would just drink regular tap water in a Nalgene bottle with 0 ice in it. I would leave the house with that thing every morning, and I would
Nalgene bottle. I can't remember.
just a plastic bottle with the big
Oh yeah,
cap.
yeah.
It was like 36 ounces, something like that. Just drink
Room
regular
temperature water, no ice.
I mean, on a good day, it would be room temperature. On a bad day, it sat in my truck and got up to 100 degrees. I'm basically drinking boiling water. My point being, that was what I was used to, and I never got sick of it and didn't think anything.
Soft.
I've gotten so soft. Now I got to have ice. Now I got to add flavoring for some reason to my water. I get grumpy if I have to drink room temperature plain water. Ugh, soft.
It's funny because if he has ice available, he uses ice. But if he has no ice available, he doesn't even think about ice.
Yep.
And so I've always been like a big fan of ice. That's why I like bottles like this. And like since we moved into this house and got this freezer that produces ice, he is all in the ice. And so
Oh, the entire year we lived in the camper, I didn't need one ice cube.
the ice cubes. And so I'm like, okay, we're about to go on like a 3-week trip. I'm like, you're gonna have to like get your ice game in check because you're gonna be taking all my ice.
I'm doing what is the thing? What is the
Hard.
doing 75 hard with no ice, except it's only 30 days. All right, but it is an example of how we get used to these creature comforts, even though we don't really need them. Okay, last question is, how do I know if I'm training hard enough to change my body, or am I just beating myself into the ground? This sounds like a CrossFitter sent this question in. Because there was definitely a day where we measured the effectiveness of our workouts by kind of how exhausted and how destroyed.
Lay on the floor.
Right, literally beating ourselves down onto the ground. So now we're a little bit smarter, and we know that there's a difference between an effective workout and one that just destroys you. And you can't measure the effectiveness of a workout based on just like how sweaty or destroyed you feel or tired at the end of the workout.
But while we're talking about this, I want to bring in a little, rep for our workout program over like AI and some programs or things like that. I think it's because like we've been in this certain training cycle for most of the summer where we're hitting 2 heavy lifts. I mean, only 2 sets of a heavy lift per day, but all 4 days of the training week. If you do like our 5-day program, it's like 4 strength training days with some conditioning, maybe mixed in or just finishers, and then a 5th day that's conditioning. But we've been doing that for the whole summer. And like, I keep an eye on like clients, how they obviously like our custom clients and our other kind of clients how they're doing and like how people are responding to the training stimulus. And we do the same programming. So as it's, we're in August now, it's like the hottest part of the year. It's hard to get outside. Sometimes your gyms are hot, and just fatigue has set in after doing this for a while. I'm already feeling it. I can kind of tell our clients are feeling it. So it already took us down from like not hitting those heavy lifts every week. So now we're going to do it every other week. And I've gotten some good feedback from clients that are like, oh wow, this was the time. I'm even like ready to be done with this cycle.
I feel good.
I feel good, and like I've built some strength here, and like I'm excited to like not have to do this.
Yeah.
So I think, what was the question again?
How do I know if I'm training hard enough
Yes.
to change my body without beating myself into the ground?
My point was like, you don't always have to be like doing a 3x5 cycle of strength training and
Yeah.
adding 5 pounds
Oh, yeah.
every week to be either even gaining strength, maintaining strength, and or getting into the gym. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what you have to be
Yeah.
doing all the time.
Yeah, I guess my mind originally went to like
a
CrossFit style, but I tell you what, like the novice linear progression of starting strength is beating yourself into the ground
And
too.
even
That's
this summer, we've just been doing like 2 sets of squats for 5 reps, like 2 sets of bench for 5 reps, 2 sets of deadlifts. It can beat you into the ground, and like that's
it gets hard
It gets hard
because you get stronger.
Yeah, you get stronger, and even though you got 2 sets, you're like staring at that bar. You're like, I got a lot of weight to move, even though it's 2 sets, and like that's kind of why I pulled back.
Yeah.
Not doing it every week, and I've like I can tell people are like ready to be done with that.
Yeah.
And so you really don't have to beat yourself into the ground. And I think like if you feel like you do, that's one, back to the other question, that's one thing that can really drown motivation to get into the gym.
And your recovery.
And yeah.
I think like now our definition of an effective workout is one where you got a good training stimulus, you gave your muscles the signal that they need to get stronger, you enjoyed the workout and it left you motivated to come back and do it again versus all the things we talked about before of being like, this workout destroyed me.
Feeling like a robot, like I have to be doing this, and otherwise it wasn't a good training day.
Or like there's a big group of people that measure the effectiveness of a workout on like how many calories that their fitness tracker says that it burns. So that's definitely not anything that we subscribe to. Okay, so just like we did with the under fueling question, like here are some signs that I came up with if your workouts are just beating you up. And not necessarily just changing your body. Extreme soreness that makes consistency hard. This is common in a lot of different workout methodologies, but it's okay to be sore, but not so sore that you can't train the next day, unless you're following a program that has you not using that muscle group for the rest of the week, which isn't effective either. Another sign you're beating yourself up is you're experiencing a lot of new joint pain that you've never felt before. You've lost the motivation to train. That kind of goes back to what I just said about our idea is that an effective workout also leaves you wanting to come back and do it again. That's one of the things that leads to consistency, which, as you know, is the secret sauce of getting results. So if you do it and you don't want to do it again tomorrow, that's a bad sign. So here are some signs that you are training right if your goal is to change your body. You push yourself hard during each part of the workout. You're not aiming to just have a certain heart rate. You're not aiming for a certain feeling in the muscle or you have to go until you hit failure. You're challenging yourself and you're resting in between sets so that you can challenge yourself again for the next part of the workout.
And that can look like a 2x5 back squat, or that can look like a 3 sets of like 20 to 25 dumbbell front or goblet squats with your heels elevated or something like that, where you're going for like strength or you're going for like volume hypertrophy.
Another sign you're training right is that you do feel sore sometimes, but not debilitated. You can continue to train. Soreness is a great indicator that you're having muscle growth and strength gains. If you're never sore, that's you're swung to the opposite side of the direction. You're no longer beating yourself into the ground. You're just laying in the bed. Another good sign is that you're tired after you work out, but you're not a zombie. There are definitely days where I finished a brutal WOD on a Saturday morning. It's a hero WOD or something, especially in the heat of Houston, and I was worthless the rest of the day. It's like, if you need me, I'll be on the couch. So you shouldn't feel like that. Let's see, another one is you're seeing progress in the mirror. I mean, let's be honest, like if one of your goals is to change your body, you should be monitoring the results that you're getting physically. And also you're seeing progression in your strength. You're able to lift more weight over time. And then last but not least, I've said this a couple times, but you're motivated to come back and do the training again. The only way to accrue volume to, facilitate changes in your body is to do one workout and then do another workout and do the next one. And staying motivated because you're not beating yourself up is really the only way to make that happen. Anything you want to add to that one?
That's it.
Okay, this was a fun Q&A. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Do you know what podcast number this is?
I think this is 491, if I'm not mistaken. We've been talking about future plans for the podcast, like how to kind of mix it up. And since we do post these podcasts on YouTube and now Spotify hosts video, and I bet Apple won't be too far behind. We got some things that
maybe changes at 500.
We got some ideas that we're working on. We'll have plenty of windshield time soon to talk about it. So anyway, if you ever want to get a question answered on the podcast or want us to discuss a topic, you can send us a note on Instagram. You can fill in the little question box when we put it up, or you can just email myself or Blakely. I'll put our email addresses in the show notes for this episode. And last but not least, if you want to work with us, you've been doing workouts, you're training, maybe you're just exercising, and you like doing it, but you're not getting the results that you want, that's definitely something that we can help with. We can also help you eat in a way that's sustainable, that leads you to your goals without extreme restriction or any kind of craziness like that. So I'll put a link to where you can apply in the show notes for this. We'll just email or get on a quick phone call, see if you're a good fit, explain to you how it works, and we'll go from there. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.